I'm gonna start this video with a request. Close your eyes for a moment and pretend it's the year 2001. Now I realise in 2001 some of you were either a baby or still swimming in your dad's nutsack, myself included. But for others, this was the year that a miracle happened. What was that miracle? Well, I'm glad you asked.
I may have gone too far in a few places.
Halo Combat Evolved. You could ask pretty much anyone you see if they know what Halo is, and half of them would say, hell yeah, I know what Halo is, and the other half would say, isn't Halo the funny green man from Fortnite? But that's modern day talk. And as any self-respecting Halo fan would know, it's far better to live in the past where your favourite game franchise was on top and nothing could go wrong. Right? Right? So congratulations, we reached the year 2000, a year that sounds futuristic, but instead of flying cars we got technology that looked like this. Doesn't look like much, I agree, but anyone who owned one of these bad boys were laughing, because they had access to all the latest first-person shooters a man could want. They had Doom, they had Quake, they had Wolfenstein, but 1 year later, a new game emerged on the scene. It looked confident, it sounded biblical, and somehow it played like someone had already mastered the entire genre and decided, sure, let's redefine it. Also, console gaming, anyone? And so Halo was born. This game opens with a literal cold start, with you climbing out of a freezer with little to no prep. You just wake up, get told your ship is crashing, witness a death, get jump scared by an alien, and meet an Aussie.
Sir, the captain needs you on the bridge ASAP. Better follow me.
It instantly commands your attention, and from the first gunfight to the last desperate escape, Combat Evolved never blinked, never softened. The game didn't want to babysit you, it wanted to baptize you. What makes Combat Evolved still linger decades later isn't just that it was the first of its kind, it's that it understood something most shooters still don't. That silence is powerful, that scale can inspire awe, that a game can say something without screaming it. It didn't hold my hand, it didn't wink at me. It kind of gaslit me into believing there's actually a metal ring in space, but I was like 7 when I first played it, so come on, give me a break. So today, I want to revisit Halo Combat Evolved. Not to praise it as a relic, but to re-experience it beat by beat, and explore why this game, above all else, still feels like coming home. The way Combat Evolved starts is a unique case, because it doesn't start with a story, it starts with a situation, and that makes all the difference. There's no opening scroll or lengthy monologue reaming off exposition to players, the story just begins, and respects that you can figure it out by moving forward. This was 2001, and most shooters saw storytelling as an optional garnish. First-person shooter plots were treated like wallpaper, but Bungie said, no. Our wallpaper will have a smiley face on it. You learn all you need to simply by playing the game. You learn about the Covenant by fighting them. You learn about the characters by listening to them.
Sod off!
You learn about the Halo ring by walking its surface in stunned silence. The moment you step out onto Halo's surface for the first time is a memory that's burned into my brain forever. And not because it's flashy, but because it's quiet. No voiceover, no score, just you. Then, of course, you have the heart of the story, Chief and Cortana, a mute juggernaut and a digital ghost thrown together out of military protocol, and it works so well. The best way I can think to describe their dynamic is like a chess partnership between a war machine and someone who knows better, and their contrasting personalities really make the story that much more enjoyable.
Oh, I see. The coordinate data needs to be... Right. Sorry.
Chief acts, and Cortana thinks.
This cave is not a natural formation.
But endearing character traits aside, you want to know the real genius behind Combat Evolved storytelling? It hides its biggest revelations behind architecture. See these Forerunner structures? They don't explain themselves. They just exist. Cold, monolithic, metallic structures, covered in angles your brain just knows look so distinct and odd. And it took me a while to really put into words what I mean when describing the vibe of Halo, but just hear me out, I think I've got it. You ever walk into an occupied bathroom without knowing it's occupied, and you get that split-second feeling in your gut of pure fear and confusion? That is literally how I feel whenever I look around at the architecture in this game. It makes you feel like an intruder. You start asking questions the game never directly answers, like who built this, and why does it feel like it's judging me? You're left with the impression that if you press a button the wrong way, you'll blow up a solar system somewhere. And that feeling, that unease, it's not accidental. Bungie knew that ambiguity creates obsession, that less is more when the world design is this good. Big respect to this game's art director, by the way, Marcus Leto. You successfully made me feel uncomfortable when I looked at a building that isn't real, which is a feeling I didn't even know I could have. But the spookiness of Halo doesn't end at architecture, because some evil bastards at Bungie decided to give a 7-year-old Micromedia PTSD halfway through the story. That's right, it's time to talk about the Flood. After hours of getting accustomed to fighting stylized alien squads and cracking jokes with the Marines, the game takes on a complete tonal shift, and as Master Chief crosses over a hill, he sees the enemy he's been fighting the entire game fleeing something, and as Emil in Halo Reach puts it,
"How often you see Covenant retreat for no reason?"
At this point, I was shaking in my boots, and I didn't want to go any further, but Master Chief said,
"Imagine how hilarious it'd be when you fucking bust a gigantic sloppy load into my fucking fat ass."
So, I ventured inside this mysterious Forerunner complex to see what was causing all this chaos. Fuck, what the fuck is that? Someone help me, Jesus fucking Christ! So, it turns out the Covenant have released an ancient alien parasite called the Flood loose on Halo, and they're basically destroying everything. Good work, Covenant! Joking aside, adding a new gameplay that heightens the stakes in both gameplay and narrative was a genius move by Bungie, and I don't think they could have handled it any better than they did. So with the ring slowly getting overtaken by the Flood, Chief and Cortana decide that the best course of action is to just fucking blow it up, and so they do. It's a little more complex than I'm letting on, but I'd rather not just explain the plot for you word for word. Instead, I want you to experience this game for yourself, because it truly is one of a kind. The story isn't spoon-fed to you, it's not overwritten, it trusts its world, and it trusts the player to have a good fucking time. And to think this game came out in a time where story was just the filler thing between boss fights, that was truly revolutionary. It's not just about what happens in the story, but what it made you feel, and what you're still thinking about, well after the credits roll.
I'm gay.
Want to know the beauty of Halo 1's combat? Well, it all lies in the dance. This game's combat plays like choreography. You're not just shooting, you're moving, adjusting, reacting. It's like they designed every encounter to make you feel a little smarter than you actually are, and believe me, I'm pretty fucking stupid. Let's look at the standard gameplay loop. Move, shoot, melee, grenade. It's like a ritual, but the genius isn't in the loop itself. It's how the game keeps bending that loop without breaking it. One moment, you're decimating a squad of grunts with a grenade. The next, you're ducking for cover, waiting for your shield to regen, while the plasma pistol hums from the shadows like it's seen your browser history. Combat never becomes routine, because the variables keep shifting. There's never a point where you feel like you're on autopilot. Every encounter demands something from you. But how can you be expected to fight aliens without guns? Well, the game has you covered there too. You quickly learn that Halo is like a candy shop, and you are that fat kid from Willy Wonka. The assault rifle is your standard shooty America gun. Pretty crap at long range, but goddamn can it invade the Middle East with style. The Magnum is arguably the best gun in the game. It has no reason to be as powerful as it is, but it is. The plasma pistol is equally for cowards and geniuses. On one hand, it's the first weapon you scramble to pick up when you're out of ammo. On the other hand, if you use it strategically, you can remove an elite's or jackal's shield with a charged shot. The plasma rifle is the best weapon for ASMR. And the Needler, it's like bringing a glitter bomb to a gunfight and still winning somehow. Each weapon in Combat Evolved feels unique, sounds different, behaves like it has an identity. You don't just pick the best stats, you pick a philosophy. And what makes it all click in the sandbox is that every weapon, every enemy, every environment all interact in a way that begs the player to experiment. And don't even get me started on how satisfying it is to send grunts flying with a grenade. And the enemy AI functions pretty flawlessly too. Covenant units have actual behavioural logic. Grunts will flee if their commander dies, elites will try to flank you, and jackals strafe to dodge your gunfire. Admittedly, the game isn't without its faults. There's a lot of repeated corridors in this game, and it can be a big ask for newer players to stomach it. But the only place where it's offensively annoying is that one mission.
I am a genius.
But all in all, the real genius of Halo 1's combat isn't in the shooting. It's the freedom. It's that every enemy has a role. It's that every weapon is unique in function and appearance. And it's that every encounter asks a question that only the player can answer. And it's also this. If there's one thing you ought to know about Halo 1, it's that it doesn't shout at you. While other shooters blast you with licensed techno tracks like it's an ad for an energy drink, Halo 1 steps back, lets the wind blow, and challenges the player to be in the moment. And I'm a firm believer that Halo 1's vibe is at its strongest when it's just you in the silence of a Forerunner structure. No gunfire, no dialogue, just the sound of your footsteps and a faint sci-fi hum echoing off the walls. And it's in those moments that Halo 1 becomes something rare, haunting, but not horror. You feel the scale of everything, like you're standing in the bones of something long dead. You're the only thing in this place that's breaking the silence, and it really makes you feel like you don't belong. Even down to how Forerunner machinery sounds when you interact with it. Listen to the sound this elevator makes. Like, what the fuck was that? Did I just break something? But the silence isn't the only thing this game does well. Halo 1's soundtrack is phenomenal. When talking about the music for Halo, you didn't look any further than Martin O'Donnell and Michael Salvatore. These two somehow managed to craft pieces of music that perfectly encapsulates everything this game is about. If I had to describe the soundtrack of Halo in a few words, I think I'd call it...
I have sex with the man.
I'm not trained in music or anything, so I can't really give any valuable insight about why this music works so well, but all I can say is that it just feels right. It has everything, from choir to electronic to horror. There isn't a single piece of music in this game that feels out of place, and I love it, especially the track A Walk in the Woods, because mass murdering aliens has never felt like such a vibe. Even if you've never played this game before, I seriously recommend just checking out the soundtrack alone, and I guarantee there will be at least one piece of music that makes you go... My personal favourite track is called The Lost Muse. It's been playing in the background of this segment the entire time, and it's not even on the official soundtrack for the game. So Marty, if you end up watching this video... what the fuck, man? Music and ambience in Halo 1 isn't just background noise, it's perspective. It reminds you that you're a trespasser, that this ring world wasn't meant for you, and that's where a lot of the emotional punch comes from. If you've got a favourite track from Halo 1, leave it in the comments below. I'm curious to see what you have to say. Revisiting Halo Combat Evolved isn't like replaying an old game. It's like cracking open a time capsule that has cocaine and ecstasy inside it. I didn't just remember the levels, I remembered how I felt in them. That strange cocktail of awe, tension, and that little voice in the back of my head saying, this means something. This was never just a game about aliens, or rings, or even saving humanity. Halo Combat Evolved was about scale, intention, design that didn't insult you, a world that let you explore it rather than dragging you by the wrist. Games today still look and sound better, but most of them wouldn't dare give you a few minutes alone in silence with nothing but a pistol and a valley. They're terrified you'll get bored. Meanwhile, Halo armed you with a menagerie of weapons and the philosophical weight of committing genocide to an alien race and trusted you to figure out the vibe. It never held the player's hand. It gave them the tools and let them decide how they wanted to have fun. And for a kid playing this in his bedroom all those years ago, that means more to me than any other loud and proud FPS could. The level design gets a little copy-paste, the backtracking can feel obnoxious, and the Magnum is a war crime waiting to happen. But none of this stops it from being timeless. Because Combat Evolved isn't good in spite of its age, it's good because it was made by people who give a shit.
I think the coolest thing about Bungie, though, one of our best traditions, is that everybody here really cares about what they're doing, and it's important to them. They do it well, and that's what makes them happy.
You can feel the passion in every encounter, every visual, every music cue, and that's why Combat Evolved is still such a beloved game all these years later. It wasn't just the start of a franchise, it was proof that even in a genre obsessed with guns and explosions, it's the silence between the gunfire that stays with you. That and blowing up grunts never gets old. Welcome to the after show. There's a couple of things I want to address before closing out this video. Firstly, you may have been wondering how I'm using a flamethrower and sentinel beam in the campaign. Well, that's thanks to Ruby of Blue and his incredible Combat Evolved Rebalanced mod. It adds a bunch of new weapons and hidden details throughout the campaign, and it truly is the definitive way to experience this game. If you have a PC, I highly recommend downloading this mod and giving it a try. I'll leave it linked in the description below. Secondly, if you've been a subscriber of this channel for a while, you're probably wondering what happened to this. Well, as much as I love the name Micromillions, it came to my attention pretty quickly that Micromillions is also the name of like an online gambling tournament, and I really don't want my name associated with that. So I did a little bit of a rebrand of the channel and changed my name to Micromedia instead. This may be a little jarring for you, and I do apologise for that, but I feel like it will be the right choice in the long run. Thanks for being patient with me, as I'm well aware my upload rate is pretty poor, but you can ensure I keep coming back by talking to me in the comments, liking the video, or subscribing. Thanks again for stopping by, and I'll see you all again very soon. I mean, maybe.